Once again. So, as you can see, we've got some visual identity. This is because one of our colleagues got inspired, and this is what we got as a result. So we love our project, we are proud of it, and so we have printed these t-shirts. So for all of us to be comfortable here and to understand the agenda for our quite big time slot, we have timed everything in minutes. So we will give a brief introduction about the history of this project. We will tell about the things that we have accomplished throughout the year, and then there will be an interactive part, and we will have the time for coffee, and later we will summarize it and think about our activities for the future. So this is a slide that I copy from one presentation to another, from one event to another. For those of you who have been with us before, you surely recognize it. The only difference is the tense of the verbs, because here we use the past tense, and this is because the year has passed already. These are the issues we have tackled on many events before, but we are still getting these questions. What exactly are you doing, and why exactly is this necessary? And even if you provide more details and explain this, that this is about professional ethics, people still have lots of questions. So for me personally, these questions we are asking, this is not something vague. This is very precise, and this is something that answers a lot of questions that are very relevant to me, like how can I stay in this profession regardless of the market changes, sometimes unfavorable market changes. So how do I stay here, and how do I continue to develop in this profession in such a way that it is also predictable and pleasant for me? So this is why we are dealing with this question in this project. We were comparing our inner compasses, and we were trying to find some common ground and to build on it with our colleagues. So it seems to me that we were acting similar to those amateur miners who are trying to find some gold in the sand. So this is exactly what we were doing. For sure, we need to have a mission in whatever we do nowadays. I will briefly explain our mission. We have always focused on establishing dialogue, and for this to happen, we have developed quite simple rules. We respect each other, we can speak two different languages, and it's not a problem for us. We do not blame each other for this. We do not discuss the things we have discussed in our events outside of it, or at least we do not mention the names. So this atmosphere of openness and trust was created through a number of events in major cities of our country, and this all started here, and it was intended to finish here. So some of it was indeed successful. The first seminar we had took place in Odessa in November 2019. It was our first attempt, but it was quite successful, and also Andrei Besedin joined us remotely. His presentation was quite informative and useful. The seminar lasted a day and a half, actually, because the second day was devoted to fairy tale therapy, which was conducted by Svetlana. And it was great because on day one we had wine in the restaurant in the evening, and on day two we also went to the seaside. But unfortunately, I a little bit overestimated my capacities, and I had to spend time recovering from the experience. So we gradually learned to do it one step at a time, and so having learned this lesson, we moved forward. Thank you, Sasha. So the next seminar we held took place in Kharkiv, which was quite unusual because when we have started this, there were three of us, and actually there were three of them because I was just a participant during the Odessa seminar, and I was deeply inspired and moved by that. And when we were drinking wine and discussing the next city to visit, we discussed two options, Lviv or Kharkiv. And since it was before New Year, we decided that it's better to do it in Kharkiv, because during that season it's very difficult to find any good venue, any good hotel in that holiday season. And so I had just 1 month for the preparation. I had just 1 month for this moving and shaking, and I had to do all of those tasks, like finding the catering, finding the venue. And I was indeed surprised by the kind of audience that I met there, because we had colleagues not only from Kharkiv there. We had 12 people there. Some of them are here in the pictures. As you can see, this is quite a big circle of people. There were some from Dnipro, from Kryvyi Rih. I was also inspired to see some real gender balance, because this way we could hear different voices in this profession. Also, I was pleased that we had not only practicing interpreters, but we also had a teacher of interpreting who is teaching the basics of this profession to students. So one more important thing to mention here is that we had people working with different languages, like German and Italian, not English only. As for the content, well, part of it was taken from the previous seminar, but also we did some brainstorming, and we asked our colleagues about the values that could be the ones uniting us in our profession. So when our colleagues shared those values, step by step we understood that we shared those values, and this was the most important takeaway from that event, because it was quite clear for me that we are building on some foundation. We have some similarities between us, and we have some of the same values, shared values. Okay, the next seminar we intended to have had to take place in Lviv, and of course we always have to understand that not always it is possible to implement everything as planned, but I have never imagined that this event will have to move online, because when we started this project here, inspired by the energies of the local nature, later had some discussions in a cafe in Lviv and also in other venues, we have always insisted that this should be a face-to-face personal communication, because this is something that helps a lot to hear each other, to understand each other, and this is something we wanted to have, some shared vision some understanding of the difficulties we all are facing, and some understanding of the solutions that can be helpful. So this interpretation in the booth, these other tasks like correspondence with the customer, they leave us no time for thinking about this. So we are either depreciating those issues or just not paying enough attention and not sharing about them with each other. So this question of professional ethics is important to us, and this is for a reason that we have selected it, because this subject or the subjects that we are discussing, they are of interest for many of us. Many of us have already faced these ethical dilemmas in our work, and some of us are going to face them in the future. So a lot of colleagues were moved by these discussions, and after Kharkiv we were getting ready for the event in Lviv, and we did not have any doubts anymore because we saw some real support from the colleagues. There was some real support, some real preparation, and the venue was found. But then the quarantine started, and it even intensified their understanding of this need to communicate. But on the other hand, we were a bit puzzled because this idea of creating a safe space was not really in line with the vision of an online event, because it's like getting an entire aircraft to use railway instead of the skies. So we decided to split our seminar into a series of webinars, and this had a number of advantages because thanks to it we got a larger audience, maybe much larger than those who would be able to physically visit us. Also, it broadened the scope of our discussion because of the quarantine we got many more subjects to discuss. And also we were visiting other webinars, other panel discussions, and thanks to this we were able to bring more and share about that during our seminar. So if we want to reduce stress and to improve conditions of our work, we have to follow the best practices, and it is great that we had a continuation of this effort and it never stopped. So all of this continued at these online meetings that Svetlana has already mentioned. Just like we did during the offline meetings, we discussed ethics, the same ethical issues, and those were not theoretical issues. That's not something between the language and cultural studies. No, this is about the actual decisions we are taking daily in our work as freelance interpreters. So how exactly did we discuss the practical issues? Even before the meeting in Odessa, we have listed a number of situations that happen to us from time to time. We have removed all the identifiable information from those situations, and those situations were used as a ground for discussions during our meetings. So these diagrams are the results of our discussions, and actually this is one of the benefits of the online format of the meetings, because thanks to it you are able to provide the electronic form, and as a result you are getting those beautiful diagrams. By the way, our colleague who helped us with the identity also helped us with the diagram. Also, we were discussing these typical situations. For instance, like you are you are requested to do simultaneous interpreting, and actually you have to do consecutive. Or like if the speaker makes a mistake, or if someone asks your personal opinion about the thing you are interpreting about. So there was a number of such cases, such situations, and these situations emerge not because of someone's evil intentions, but rather because of the lack of information, of the lack of agreement about the conditions on which you are going to work, like the conditions of collaboration between the colleagues, the agreement about the relations between the interpreter and the customer. And it is best, of course, to arrange this in the form of a contract. By the way, once again, I'm grateful to Andrei Besedin for his assistance to us with its legal aspects.
And this letter should be sent to a client. So that's just practical advices and things that I have already mentioned. And all our findings we have posted in the VP groups. It's a closed VP group, but not due to the some high-level group for only chosen to be and with some secrets, and no, the secrets can't be shared with anyone else. But because for us it was very important to preserve that frank atmosphere that we have created in Odessa and to continue this atmosphere in online format. This is for us a volunteering project. We have made everything by our intuition. That's why we have established a closed group. And as in Odessa, we have agreed that this group should be closed only in the beginning, upon some results or findings already. As soon as we have something to share with the audience, the group becomes an open one. So this was the background of establishment of this group. The girl shared with you their own motivation in terms of my motivation. I have had just pragmatic or practical intents. First of all, I would like to synchronize our compasses with my colleagues, because sometimes I really experienced one and the same case time by time. Of course, I found my own solution, but I was interested in solutions of my colleagues. And I understood that if we just could listen to different solutions of different colleagues, I could receive answers for many answers for one and the same question. And the second motivation for me, I could say the following. I just looked at this project as my commitment to the community building as of today, but with the purpose of having better conditions tomorrow. That's just for me personally. What was my vision? If we agree on what we think to be better conditions, to be proper conditions of work, if we share this information among clients, colleagues, then we will elaborate those standards mentioned by Andrei already yesterday. We will develop something, and that would be not just an idea or wish of one interpreter, or for example, I don't want to work solo or overtime or so on, but no, it will be a general common agreed standard of the community. But I was quite a skeptical one in this sphere, because our profession is very isolated. Very often we work in pairs as a maximum, but usually also we work just solo or during a day and so on. But many people whom we know, those who work in this profession for many years, we should just gather them in one room. We should speak about topics on which usually people don't talk about. I was really skeptical about such discussion. For me, it was a small adventure, a small such experiment. I was really overwhelmed when people the same as I did, they spent a night traveling from another region in order to speak for a day on the professional ethics. They were ready to pay money for rent, to pay money for catering, for tickets. So they spent money and they traveled and came to Odessa. So Odessa was my antidote against skepticism. And Kharkiv and other meetings just add me more and more inspiration. As all these meetings and all these discussions proved, they show that all these situations, all these cases are common not only for us, but automatically also for our clients. So it means all our personal decisions will influence on how clients perceive us, on their attitude towards us, what they think about professional quality and professional ethics, or it doesn't matter how we call it. So we impact on it by our personal decisions. On any meeting, there was a colleague that said that I would like to work in worse conditions, or I don't need this money. It's enough for me to receive less money. Of course, all want to work in better conditions, in proper conditions, with proper payment. So it's important for us to establish a platform and discuss what you understand under proper payment, under eligible payment, and so on, so on. All those decisions that we make in such cases, we don't make them by chance. It's not because I just wake up and I make this decision. No, but because we return to our values. Svetlana, the floor is yours. Yes, actually, we understood some moment over the time that in such communities, interpreters in Ukraine, strict vertical hierarchy can't be applied for. We don't need some controlling hand. We thought that it can't work for us. Horizontal connections is what works for us. In order to have them, we need a solid platform, a solid base. We should speak about values. Maybe you could have thought, what are strange questions that you ask? What are these topics, some abstract, ephemeral topics? Why you think about it? So I just imagined it. What they try to show, they can't glue just it all together, all these pieces. But from each this poll, from each such discussion, we took some particles of information. Then we melted it together in order to make a solid base, a solid platform, understanding of values, it becomes just a term of reference, a system of reference, and we crystallized such a set of values. I suggest to you right now just to wake up, take your gadgets, tablets, laptops, phones, and our Zoom participants. It's very important to say that today in Zoom we have those who didn't come here, but actually they participated in our online meetings. They are together, they are with us today, they will work with us today. Right now, let's go to the website maybe.com. Please use the next code, menti.com. Go to this website and you should enter the code. There afterwards you will see a list of values that we just collected and took from all those discussions. And what we mean under each value. Of course, it's not detailed one, but you're suggested to prioritize them. It doesn't mean whether you agree or not. We don't tell you that you should accept these values. That's what all of you have shared with us, what you have declared. We just suggest to recall again these values. 386949. This is a code for the website. Please go menti.com and enter this code. Maybe we should renew a page. So the code is 386949. Please go to this website using your own gadget or any equipment that you have and enter this code. Please refresh the page. Yes. So please refresh your page. So the code again 386949. Please refresh your page. So I will try again. So, have you managed to enter the page? Wait a moment, please. I will refresh this page. Anyway, I will try just to read out all the values. Now, it's not about priorities, but as we have this list of values. First of all, we have discussed about just respect. Respect is a general value. Respect to yourself, self-respect to the colleagues, to the clients. We have spoke about being frank and sincere with intermediate people, with the clients, with the colleagues, about professional standards in in the work, efficiency in the CPD and the continuous professional development in the education. We speak about being brave and take responsibility for your own actions and decisions. We have discussed about care after your colleagues, after yourself, care after professional image. We have spoken about trust to the colleagues in making and implementation of the decision, not doubting their decisions. And what we again and again confirm that and say that there should be no shaming. We have spoken about professional reputation as such a set of results after purposeful attitudes to your own profession and all who represent your profession, not depending on the age of experience, and because experience could differentiate, and that's the whole list. It was quite enough for us in order to establish such a base, such a platform, which would be a start to go further. Unfortunately, the poll didn't work. Of course, it's not a big problem, but you have heard this list of values, and basing on this list of values, let's try to develop a code. We have around 1 hour now. We will stop conference interpreting. We will ask our interpreters and the users to join us and to create this code, but of course not from the scratch. We have 2 sets of materials, one for each table. The first one is the protocol of ethical code, based on what we have elaborated during this year, and the second one is the AIC code. Actually, we don't have a real active association in Ukraine. We try to develop these horizontal connections, but of course, international experience, best practices of such a high-level organization with a high level of respect and image, of course, it would be useful. That's why we use it as a comparative model, and we will work in the format of the World Cafe in order to hear voice of each one. We will have 3 rounds, 15 minutes each, plus minus. And now let's divide into these groups. Further instructions you will listen when you will be divided already into groups. So there will be a ring, and then we will have just moving from one table to table. So here there is the table number 1. Table number 1 is there. Svetlana is the moderator. So there will be a first block of code prototype. Lika will be responsible for the table number 2. I will be responsible for the table number 3. I will. So please, I will tell you right now the numbers. Please remember the numbers and the names. Anya is responsible for the. So Anya will be in the 1, and read 2, you 3, Vika 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, Andrei 3. In the booth, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, so let's go. Conference interpreting, we just stop right now, and let's work in the groups.
Далі гнати.
Я вам даю просто час.
Ми повинні висказати свою.
Так.